Once upon a time, Vicki was trapped by the curse of her thoughts. It had her believing she was powerless, imperfect, and weak. Then one day, the curse started to lessen, and Vicki could see a little clearer. As each day passed, her thoughts improved until she broke free. She then began creating magic in her life. Now, Vicki is getting ready to marry her Prince Charming. This is her manifesting success story. Hello and welcome to this episode. This is a Q&A, but also a special Q&A because I'm going to get Vicki's A's as well. I am here with Abundance Facilitator Vicki Pace, and we are going to talk about the how we choose to follow something else, what exactly is inspiration and why is it powerful and why is it more powerful than the how. So welcome, Vicki.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi, yeah, I'm excited. So what did you think, if anything, when you heard like the how in the beginning of your LOA journey? Or people would say like, you can't how it, or maybe you just heard that when you started listening to Jenny and I.
What did I think?
Or what did you think it was?
I think at the time I thought, I don't know what this is, but these ladies sound like they know what they're doing. So I'm going to just focus on that. But it reminded me of when I used to be very religious and just like, let go and let God. And that it had a similar feeling. It sounded like I put some judgment on that. I was not. That's just like, that was the feeling I got in it. It's similar sort of sit back and relax. So I didn't really know what let go of the how meant at the time. Yeah. You had a couple episodes where you and Jenny dove into it. I think seriously, way back when you first started, I remember scrolling in the app. I remember looking for a title that was like, what is the how? And spending a lot of time looking for that.
Yeah.
It's different now if you have access to the searchy, of course. But so that's kind of how I learned and how I taught myself what the how was.
Okay. How would you say it now if one of your clients says, what's the how?
The how is manhandling your manifesting. I wish I had a better phrase because that's not super fair to men. But white knuckling things the way you feel they should be done. Usually there's a lot of shoulds involved. And how I picture it now is when you're doing the how, you're closing doors. You might think you're opening doors, but by trusting and waiting for inspiration, you're opening up to more. And one phrase you used with Ginny in this, probably from 2016 or something, you said inspiration is so much sweeter than the how.
Yes.
And that really hit it for me, that I was like, I think it was that moment that I was like, what are these people talking about? I want more. I was like, sign me up. Sounded so juicy. I was so excited. So yeah, inspiration is just so much sweeter. And not only that, but it leads to things you never would have thought possible. I mean, are these episodes going to come in order like the last week talking about Chana? So like, I would never have thought I need to keep space open to manifest meeting Chana in person. That was not on my radar. I just was going with the flow, following inspiration. Like I had a loose plan of what I wanted to do with my morning, but I just was like going with the flow. Like I had plans to like finish my assignment and go swim in the pool, which would have been fun too, of course. But like I nowhere in my wildest dreams would I have been like, I need to hold space so I can manifest something else.
Yes.
So that just is, I feel like, because I am used to holding space without thinking about it and without working hard. To do it,
Yeah. So that's part of it. So let's try and give this like, I love the white knuckle answer, right? Because we're like, it's controlling everything, right? So the how is about controlling how you're going to manifest, controlling what you need to do to manifest, which is the things in between the manifesting work. Like there's the manifesting work, and that is something that I would suggest doing. And then there's the things that we think we need or we should do to get our manifestation to happen. right? Which in business there's usually a checklist of, oh, you have to post so many times, you have to be on social media, you have to have so many email lists, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, right? And so let's think about you and Chana, which is interesting because that connection almost doesn't happen until you're further down the road. But if someone were going to white knuckle this, then it was like, oh, my intention is more friends or more connections, right? And then it would be like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to Kentucky. I should figure out who I know in Kentucky. And probably you would have been like, oh, I don't know anyone, because it wouldn't have occurred, or you'd either have gone through the entire list of the Enchanted Circle and tried to figure out where they lived. And maybe like you would have posted, but Chana wouldn't have seen it, right? It's like, oh, tell me where you live. Does anyone live in Kentucky? Like, where are you? Like, I want to connect. And it'd be this very like, like just kind of aggressive energy.
And pushing away then.
Yes. Yeah. Because probably anybody who read that, even in the Enchanted Circle, would be like, no. I don't think I need to connect with Vicki today. And I'm not going to tell her that Chana lives in Kentucky, because that's a lot. I'll let Chana answer, right?
Well, and now I'm also thinking she had other plans that morning.
Yes, she did.
I think because I was allowing, she was feeling uncomfortable about those plans. Those plans didn't feel good. So now I'm thinking, if I had been pushing to like connect with people in Kentucky, that would have maybe pushed her to feel better about going to the Pride Parade than seeing me.
Yeah. Or she would have automatically just said, oh, I already have plans to go to the parade, right? I'm already going to the Pride Parade with my friends this weekend. I already have these plans. Right? Like if you had tried to schedule it a week out or a couple days out, it's like, oh, no, I already have plans.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, I can't connect with any new people. There's no one in Kentucky, right? Because it's just not, it doesn't allow for the lining up and the space and the opening, right? So the how is really just doing a list of things that you think is going to make the manifestation that you want happen.
And by doing that, you're shutting doors. You are not staying open to the easiest path. Even if you think what you have in mind, if you are sure 100% this how is the way to go, I mean, just 99% of the time it's not. Or it is, and you decide to let it go and you circle back to it, but it feels so much better.
Yeah.
Because you're inspired this time to do it.
Yes. Well, I think our hows can sometimes work. But what happens when we are howing our entire life is that we don't know the other side of the magic. We never learn. Yeah. I remember having this conversation with a client one time, and she's like, oh, I did this and then it worked. I'm like, yep, but you didn't even give the space for it to work a different way. Like, you'll never know if it could have worked the sweetness. You'll never know the sweetness of not having to plan, not having to post and then check and see if anyone lives in Kentucky and do all these things. Just the sweetness of like, you're in Kentucky. I'm close to there. Do you want to meet up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My God. And I'm even thinking about like the furniture thing. I could have been like, okay, this is how you manifest a living room furniture set. I'm going to like figure out a way to still sit out in the living room, like move my one sort of, I call it the clothes chair because that's just where my laundry ends up.
Yeah.
I could move my clothes chair out there and put my TV out there and like watch TV in there and like figure out these little things and sit and practice beingness. And that is the how. And if I just wonder, like, if I had done that, it's just so much sweeter now. I didn't have to manifest that. I manifested a life partner and an amazing home.
Yes.
Much better than a friggin' living room furniture.
Right? Much better.
Much better.
Yeah. And the how, and so if you would have, so I would say that's like, howing using LOA techniques, right?
Like, I could have been howing, like searching marketplace constantly.
Yes.
Yeah. Asking friends if they know of anybody who's getting rid of furniture.
Yeah. So there's kind of levels.
Job to make more money to buy this furniture. Yeah.
And so like level 1 of howing would have been like searching all day, every day on marketplace or anywhere else, like getting the job, doing that. Right. All those things. currently, like just, on it all the time. Like, I'm going to figure this furniture out. Right.
Mhm.
And then level 2 is like leveraging a little more law of attraction, but it's still howing, because any LOA technique can also be a how, which is the tricky thing, right?
Mhm.
Like that beingness of taking your TV out there, unless it was super inspired, which
Yeah.
it wasn't, because you would have just done it one day, right? But you
Right.
thought about like, oh, I could do that.
Mhm.
That's sort of like level 2. And then not doing anything until it's inspired, which might even mean not doing anything until it's never inspired. There's just a different situation,
Right.
is level 3.
Mhm.
And that's the ultimate, where you leave the how and you're fully in inspiration.
Mm.
And the part of the sweetness of inspiration is the lack of energy that it takes. Like the energy of searching on Facebook Marketplace, and then the energy of like either, I mean, you're not going to carry a couch by yourself. You're pretty strong, but like
Mhm.
you're not the Hulk. So you're not going to
Mhm.
carry a couch in by yourself, like organizing people to get it, organizing people to get all this stuff, and then
Mm.
having to deal with it. Even if like the plan was probably, the path was always leading to Nick's house, but like
Mhm.
then you would have to get rid of it, like the extra
Yeah.
energy that is spent when we house something instead of just allow for inspiration.
Yeah. And it's like I just like I've had thoughts way back when I first started. I was like, but then like what do you do with your day if you're not filling up your time and brain space with all of the hows? I was like, what do you do? Like what is that like? Of course now I know and I love it, but like
Yeah.
it's like learning how and by letting go of the how, you are practicing trust and
Mhm.
therefore practicing the beingness, which is going to get you more shit like
Yes.
of the stuff you
Yes.
want
It
is
is.
more of the stuff you want. And that's what we're all here for. I mean, like in the enchanted circle, it's like
Yeah.
getting more of our stuff, more money, more ease, more things, more
More.
relationship, better relationships.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
yeah, opening up to trust and the trust, like trust and inspiration and beingness, it's all kind of one nugget.
yes. Yes.
Hmm.
I want to circle back before you forget this. What do you do with your day when you're like not white knuckle howing every single thing that you want to happen in your life?
Just, what did I say? It was some scripting I did. Flowing and growing. And like, that sound like, I feel like if you don't know, you don't know. But so let me expand. I follow my inspirations throughout the day. And by following those inspirations, things are better and sweeter. And I'm still doing things like emptying the dishwasher, doing my laundry, like vacuuming. But it's funny, I didn't tell you this, but like cleaning up the dog poop in the house. Like today, I came at it from a very different place. And it felt easy, and I had no stories or judgment or big emotions and things around cleaning up dog puddles in the house, and which is different than yesterday, y'all. But like by following the inspirations, all of these little quote unquote mundane tasks don't feel mundane. They
Hmm.
just kind of feel like breathing, and we just do it and move on, and life is great. And because of all that, I was also inspired to go for a run today, and that felt freaking amazing. And a couple other little things I'm doing to like unpack and move, and it's all feeling so good and so in flow. And I'm doing this. So
Yes.
great.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so now we'll come back a little bit to inspiration and all those awesome things, but you have to tell that dog story now, because the listeners aren't like, what?
I know. Yesterday, I think in a coaching call, I asked Cassie, how do I get okay with these things that don't feel good? Like cleaning up the dog poop in the house. And we had some coaching around it. But really, I see today what I needed was just to follow inspiration
Hmm.
and do things when they're inspired. So by waiting to clean up when till when I was inspired, it felt neutral. And that's a thumbs
Yes.
up for me.
Yes. It does feel neutral, right? Because going
Mhm.
back to sort of how is a list and it's a white knuckle, it's waking up and being like, oh my God, I have all these things to do, instead of waking up and
Mhm.
being like, what do I want to do right now?
Yeah.
And when we're living in that flow, we can't help but empty the dishwasher. We can't help but
Mm.
like pick up. We can't help but do these things because the flow of our life, most of us set the intention for like an easy, clean, like maybe we're not
Mhm.
like super focused on clean, but it's in
Mhm.
the background of our scripts in our life is like
Yeah.
beauty and all these things. And so
Mhm.
we can't help not do them when
Mhm.
like inspiration, we're it's alignment. We're going to be inspired to take care of the things that need to be taken care of. But so
Mhm.
often people are like, oh no, if I don't make a list, if I don't start on the dishwasher first thing in the morning, it'll never get done, which isn't true.
Mm.
And like, it
Mhm.
doesn't matter whether the dishwasher gets done first thing in the morning or right before you start cooking dinner, like really,
Mhm. Right.
right? What matters is how you feel and the energy that you put into it. And if you force that because you've read some checklist where, I don't know, the dishes should be put away first thing in the morning. It's
Mm.
ironic that I'm saying this because I usually do them. It's usually inspired for
Yeah.
me to do first
Me
thing in
too.
the morning.
Right. Mhm.
But sometimes not. And I don't, if you've read some checklist that like, oh, you have to get all that stuff done
Successful
before.
people do this, this, and this.
Yes,
Right.
the
Mhm.
successful people list.
Yeah.
But are they happy? Um,
Right. Right.
You put this pressure and there's no room for inspiration, right? Because maybe
Mhm.
you're not inspired in the morning because later in the day, you're actually going to need like a 5-minute mental break. And putting away
Right.
the dishes is the perfect 5-minute mental break for something
Mhm.
or the perfect transition before you know what else you want to do.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm thinking of this one, the person who introduced me to the law of attraction back when I was
Mhm.
like 20-ish or something. Her mother taught her about it, I think through The Secret. But I remember her telling me a story about her mom was single but wanted a relationship, and her mom was so white knuckling the idea that she needed a set of pillows on the bed for space for her partner. And I remember this woman talking about it a lot. Like I just for some reason that story represented how I was supposed to do LOA. And thinking now about, obviously that was a how and
Right.
sort of an
Even though it
LOA
was
how.
like, yes, it was an LOA how.
Right. It was an LOA how that was taking up so much brain space and energetic space in her world that she wasn't open to the idea of an inspired, I'm going to go for a walk and maybe I bump into some new neighbor or whose brother's single, or like maybe I'm inspired to start reading this new book and that leads me to join a new book club and I meet someone who's, I don't know, whose cousin is moving. I don't know. So, like inspiration is not always the one step. It can lead to multiple different steps. And by working, like white knuckling the how, even LOA hows, you're still closing doors. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. And I want you to explain that a little bit more because I totally agree. But
Mhm.
for our listeners, like, why does she keep saying you're closing doors? Like
Mm.
you're leaving pillows. How is that? Or you're focused on the pillows for the person. How's that closing a door? Like, explain it to us.
Because that is paving one path instead of being open to all of the, I was going to say like all of the dirt paths, but that makes it sound lesser than. um, that is
All the
creating
roads.
all of the roads. Yeah, that is essentially putting road closed signs on all of the exits on the highway and saying, no, this one highway is the only way that my partner or the thing I want is going to come to me. So I'm just going to focus on this highway, make sure this highway is beautiful, pristine, perfect, instead of staying open to all of the exits you're missing along the way.
Yeah. And being open to the beingness because putting the pillows
Mm.
isn't about beingness.
No.
Right? It's about a thing.
Mhm.
It's not about being a person who's in a relationship.
Mhm.
It's about having things for someone you hope will show up.
Right. And now I'm thinking the beingness in that scenario would have been, I'm going to start reading this new book because I'm inspired to. And like,
Yes.
if you think like in another universe, when this person is with their partner, they probably were also inspired to read the same book or a book. And so thereby you are practicing the beingness in that moment.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add about what the how is and why inspiration is sweeter?
Plus, life is just easier.
So much
It's
easier.
so much easier, you guys. And like, I'm thinking about how the how also for me usually equates anxiety. You know,
Mm-hmm.
how sort of the non-LOA world would call anxiety and stress,
Mm-hmm.
and doing the how, researching the how, that's all very sort of my old school anxious brain. And I don't have that anymore. And like,
Hey.
if I start feeling myself dipping my toe back in, I realize like I'm aware of it enough now. I can stop myself and reassess and open back
Yes.
up to inspiration.
I love it.
Hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So true. The how, like leaving the how in the past and opening yourself
Mm.
up and allowing yourself to trust and follow inspiration is so much sweeter. But like so many reasons, because it's really a lot of fun when things show up and you get to follow
Oh,
inspiration,
yeah.
but it is just so much easier. Like if you're looking for an easier way of life, an easier way to manifest, an easier way to make money, it's all comes from inspiration.
All of it. And like,
Mhm.
I don't think I would have been able to jump in with both feet into trusting and inspiration in the beginning. And
Right.
that's why you find a system like the Enchanted Circle University, Enchanted Life U, that helps you build that strength to open up to life being sweeter all the time.
Yeah. And reminds you to stay out of the how and has
Mhm.
moments where you have to allow for inspiration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool.
We could keep going. We don't have to though.
I know. I love it. Anything else you want to make sure you say as we wrap this up?
I want to push our TikTok handles if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. You can follow me personally on TikTok under the handle of at Vicki Not Vicki 0, and that's spelled VICKINOT VICKY and then the number 0. And then follow the Enchanted Life U on TikTok under at Enchanted Life U, ENCHANTED LIFE, and then the letter U.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Awesome. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Make sure to come back and check out what else is awesome in Vicki's life next time. Thank you, Vicki.
Thank you.
The telling of stories is so powerful, both to the person telling it and the person receiving it. Since 30,000 BC, we as humans have told stories to teach and guide. And now we, with Manifesting Success Stories, hope to inspire you to what is possible in your own life. If you want more manifesting success, go to moremanifestingsuccess.com, where you'll find links to anything we've talked about on the show. Thank you for joining us today, and remember, you have the power to write your own happy ever after.